Uganda has one of the youngest and fast growing populations in the world, with its fertility rate at 3%. With such a gruesome young population, the swamp of unemployment is also biting harder, with the rates of youth unemployment rising in the country, which stand between 64% and 70%. But the unemployment rates are lower among people with no education or those that drop out at school at certain stages, and higher among those with secondary education and above. To put this in perspective, this is not all about looking at education with content.
Statistics from the Labor Department indicate that over 400,000 students that finish tertiary education each year have only 800 jobs to fight for, meaning every one job that is available has about 50 people to fill, which sees the employment curve go up at the time when most of the people are graduating from universities. According to the experts, they have it that most of the graduates tend to look at petty jobs with content, which isn't the case for those with no education or dropped out of school at certain stages due to various reasons. In our two-part series of why unemployment is lower among people with no education or those that dropped out at certain stages and high among those with secondary education and above, I talked to two different types of youth, where one is a degree holder, the other an O-level dropout, who we talked about their job experiences and salary earnings, plus the big question of why unemployment is lower among people with no education or school dropouts and higher among those with higher qualifications. I first talked to Bashir, a 25-year-old with a degree in civil engineering and planning, and has spent 2 years on a trot searching for his dream job that suits his papers. I met him at a certain company, picking his application forms applying for a job in Abu Dhabi. First, we talked about his first job.
I got a job in a certain company, a certain construction company that is local. I got a job there as a store assistant.
Store assistant. For how long did you work there?
I worked there for quite like 4 months, probably. That is 4 months.
How much were you being paid?
They used to give me 400,000. It was not enough, and on top of that, I was not doing my professional career. That prompted me to quit that job.
Bashir also tells me that the position he much wanted of a civil engineer in the company was filled by a relative of his boss with no hopes of getting it in the near future. With the high costs of living, he estimates of being paid 800,000 shillings for any job if he is to get one in Uganda as per now, something that prompted me to ask him why he thinks crossing an ocean is the road to getting a good paying job.
These people actually, they are very specific. We go to apply for the job, a certain job, they give you a list of any job and its wage and its salary. It's you who stipulates that I want this kind of salary, and actually you go for that. But this time around, those people, they are in 1 point something you are looking at probably at least.
And to the question of why unemployment is higher among people with secondary education and above and lower among those without, he tells me,
probably I think people who are a bit advanced, a bit educated, they tend to minimize, to undermine the petty jobs somewhere, somehow, because for them they are a bit rigid to their professional jobs, expecting that tomorrow, next year they will get the job, which keeps them in an unemployment kind of rate.
You've spoken about people who are educated,
Yeah.
They tend to ignore petty jobs.
Yes.
How about you trying out a petty job rather than aiming at going overseas?
For real, this time around, if at all I'm to engage in a petty job this time around, I don't think that I can survive, because I'd already experienced a certain kind of cost. Which petty job I'm expecting to get, if I'm to get, it cannot at least sustain me.
after speaking to Bashir, I also spoke to Joseph, a 20-year-old who is an O-level dropout, as his parents didn't have the financial muscle to help him continue with his studies. Having spent much of his time being idle, he started up a small business of selling jackfruit with capital of 10,000 shillings.
After Form 4, 2015, that's when I started this. That's allowed because I had no money. And of course, I listened to Zariwo, call a business, Yawe, man.
This looks like a dirty and a shameful job, but Joseph is getting good out of it. On a good day, he earns around 50,000 shillings, and on a bad one, he earns around 20,000 shillings to 30,000 shillings.
Why do you think unemployment is lower among people with no education and higher among people with higher education.
Abagamba nti basomako nga wokozesa, they tend to undermine jobs. Abalamu nagamba asis kati sijasala cause biba bindabisa nga nagenda sooka okuba agamba biba bindabisa naye wunzikanga ayagala omulimu da exact job bwe yasoma ate at times naye wunzikanga tamufu ate ffe people abakumala senior 4, senior 3, senior 5 nga gyetuba ne mutima ogugamba nti twasoma nyo we have to work for ourselves aze tukola buli mulimu ogubaawo kasita gubanga tegukufuulako buzibu ate kasita mubamu sente the good thing is people are working and attacking those because you're very hard working compared to those like jobs of which you have to buy.
A Greek philosopher, Diogenes, once said, "A foundation of every state is the education of its youth." In our second part series, we talk to the experts to find out why there is lower unemployment among people with no education or those that drop out of school along the way, and higher among people with secondary education and above.